What's good, YouTube? It's Michael Bean back with another video, man. And today we got another video from Hockey Psychology. Shout out Hockey Psychology. The NHL's greatest choke job deserves a breakdown. And based on just this image right here, it looks as if this is going to be talking about the Bruins. And if it is, it's kind of crazy because I think this is it's gonna mention one of the games that and the like had she asked me to, she said that I should watch or react, and I think that was game 7. Who was it? The Bruins? I can't remember who they were playing. Damn, why can I not remember who they were playing? Anyway, it was 2013. I know that was a year, and Bruins were in the Stanley Cup. So I think that's what it's talking about. But thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to be here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn post notifications on, and let's get into it.
14 minutes and 31 seconds.
Okay,
that is the exact time left on the clock after a 22-year-old Nazem Kadri just scored his first career playoff goal to put the Leafs up 4-1 in Game 7.
No.
It's been an unbelievable underdog
it's the Leafs.
So far. No one has saw this coming, and we're just 14 minutes and 31 seconds away from the biggest upset of these playoffs. All Toronto has to do now is find a way to hang on.
No.
Now, here's a quick question for you. Have you ever traveled and got stuck without internet?
Oh my gosh, boy, you getting good with these.
Is the super convenient eSIM.
You getting good with the sponsorship.
It's May 13th,
Shoot, I need me one.
2013. And even before the puck hits the ice, something feels a little off about these two teams being in Game 7. That's because the 2012-2013 season wasn't normal. Instead of the NHL starting like usual in October, the lockout pushed the start all the way to January 19th.
Damn!
Scheduled down to just 48 games instead of the usual 82. Instead of it being a marathon, it was a sprint to the playoffs. And to reach this Game 7, both teams went through a chaotic year. The Bruins were deep in win now mode. After their 2011 Stanley Cup win over Vancouver, much of that championship core was still intact. For a majority of the shortened season, Boston stayed near the top of the East, and they still played with that same punishing, hard-nosed identity. But as the season progressed and wound down, their offense dried up. Goals were hard to come by, and they started slipping in the standings. Then, tragedy struck. 2 bombs exploded near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. The city was shook as the following days were filled with...
Damn, I forgot Boston Marathon was 2013. That's crazy.
Fear and uncertainty as the manhunt unfolded. From that pain, the slogan Boston Strong was born as a rallying cry for both the grieving city and its teams. With everything surrounding Boston, the Bruins would only win 2 of their last 8 games and finish 4th in the Eastern Conference. In the old playoff format, that meant that they would face their division rival in the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs being in this Game 7 is nothing short of a shock. Coming into the 2013 season, the Leafs held the longest playoff drought in the NHL.
That's
and the last
crazy.
few years have been miserable. Back in
Ashamed.
2009, the Leafs sent 2 first-round picks and a second to Boston in exchange for star winger Phil Kessel. But even with Kessel's production, the team hadn't sniffed playoff success, and the media never let them forget it. But with a shortened season and a new head coach, Randy Carlyle, things started to click. There were signs, though, that they weren't as good as they seemed. An unsustainably high shooting percentage, along with possession numbers that were god-awful, indicated that the Leafs may just be smoke and mirrors. But the wins kept coming,
lucky.
And for Leaf fans desperate for playoff hockey, that was more than enough. Everyone was just happy to be along for the ride and back to the playoffs. So, after clinching a spot,
I know that felt good, though.
First-round matchup against the Boston Bruins.
After 9 years, boy, they don't care, bro. They just trying to... There's something on my camera. But they said, man, well, we just trying to make the playoffs, baby. We trying to make the playoffs.
And in Game 1, the Leafs struck first and caught Boston off guard. But from there, it was all Bruins. Toronto looked overwhelmed by Boston's physicality. And scored 4 unanswered to take Game 1 4-1. Toronto did respond with a gritty 4-2 victory in Game 2 in the series, but Games 3 and 4 swung back in Boston's favor. A costly pinch by captain Dion Phaneuf led the Bruins to the overtime winner in Game 4.
Damn.
The media was all over it. Dion Phaneuf owned up to the mistake, but the damage was done. The series felt over, yet most fans expected a relatively easy path for Boston.
3-1?
It seemed like a lock for Boston, but in hockey, a hot goalie can change everything. Leafs goaltender James Reimer stopped 72 of 74 shots in successive 2-1 wins.
What? 72 or 7, bro. Bro, what?
Combine that with some huge goals from Kessel and Phaneuf meant that Toronto had showed a gutsy effort to force a Game 7.
Bro, 72 or 74.
The opening minutes of the game were cautious, with both teams trying to feel each other out. Boston wasn't playing around, though. Captain Zdeno Chara made it clear that they wanted to set the tone.
Look at Chara.
First, Chara went after Phil Kessel. Then he let James Van Riemsdyk learn firsthand what Boston hockey looks like. The physicality of Boston was bound to make Toronto's defenseman to make a mistake. And after getting denied again along the wall in the breakout, Leafs defenseman Cody Franzen decides to make a costly no-look pass into the middle, and it lands right on the stick of Matt Bartkowski, who walks in.
Oh my goodness, between the legs.
With the Leafs looking to respond, Joffrey Lupul would get a partial breakaway and get high stick by Zdeno Chara, putting the Leafs on the power play. It wasn't until 10 seconds remained on the man advantage that a Dion Phaneuf slap shot would cause havoc in front of the net. With James Van Riemsdyk and Joffrey Lupul crashing the crease, Cody Franzen lurks in the weeds and makes good on his previous mistake to tie this game at 1.
Boy, snuck a little goal in.
The Bruins would get an early power play to start the second, but after failing to convert, the Leafs' Clark MacArthur dumps the puck in, and Grabowski, as the F1, eats a big hit along the wall.
Oh my goodness!
For MacArthur to grab the loose puck. He makes a slick pass over to the blue line, and it would be Cody Franzen again to give the Leafs their first lead in this Game 7. All the hate that accumulated throughout this series was now starting to show itself at every whistle.
The goalie punched him?
Chances from the Bruins. We were headed into the third with Toronto having a 2-1 lead. This is when we start to see the brilliance of Phil Kessel. Just 3 minutes into the third period, a loose puck in the Bruins corner would see Phil Kessel going up against Milan Lucic. Considering the size difference, this should be an easy play for Lucic. But Kessel knows his limits and smartly ties up Lucic's stick, just enough for James Van Riemsdyk to pick up the loose puck.
Wow.
Van Riemsdyk cuts in, he releases a shot that handcuffs Tuukka Rask, and lost in the coverage is Phil Kessel himself.
I feel like Kessel's smart. He went back around the goal.
Own game. And fast forward to 3 minutes later, Kessel has another chance to put a dagger in his former team. As the rush plays out, he's joined by Nazem Kadri for a 2-on-1. Kessel saw an identical opportunity in Game 6 and was stopped when he held onto the puck. This time, a quick shot to intentionally pass it off the far pad of Rask sets up a golden rebound for Nazem Kadri to make it 4-1 Toronto. It's in this exact moment where everyone, including the players on both sides, thought this game was over. Fans immediately started leaving the building. Leafs center Tyler Bozak, who wasn't in this game due to injury, was getting texts on his phone saying good luck in round 2. Even the Bruins color commentator Jack Edwards had seemingly admitted defeat.
The Toronto Maple Leafs, unless they suffer a colossal collapse, are going to eliminate the Boston Bruins.
Despite the acceptance kicking in for much of Boston, there was still one player who wasn't giving up, and that was Milan Lucic. With 10 minutes left to go in the third, Lucic would get the puck at the blue line and drive wide on Toronto as they sat back. As all 5 Maple Leafs collapse, Lucic draws the net and gives a perfect
did they even try to stop him?
For the Bruins to cut the lead to 2.
No.
Despite that goal breathing some life into Boston, Toronto didn't give up much. And with 3 minutes left in this game, Leafs forward
3 minutes
has a breakaway but misses as he fakes to his backhand and it
oh
rolls
my
off
gosh.
his stick. A golden opportunity was missed. Now, despite being down by 2 in this game, it was evident that Boston had cracked the code of Toronto's defense in this series. You see, one of the reasons why Randy Carlyle's Maple Leafs didn't have amazing analytics was because of their play style. Defensively, they played a very passive zone defense that gave any puck carrier from the point ample time to make a play. While it did take away from the most dangerous part of the ice in the middle, the Bruins did their homework in this series as most of their goals came either directly from a point shot or a rebound that followed shortly after.
Wow.
However, what amplified it as a viable strategy was the weakness of goaltender James Reimer. Reimer had a tendency to really struggle with his rebound control. It was a big issue in this series, and even Leafs former assistant Greg Cronin
Wow.
admitted that Reimer was more of a puck blocker than a puck catcher. A lot of pucks hit his glove, but they didn't stay there. Even Bruins defenseman Johnny Boychuk would later admit that Boston coaches were begging their players to shoot everything at Reimer. So with a minute 30 left and the goalie pulled, the Bruins stick with the game plan as every point shot was followed by a rebound until eventually Milan Lucic picks up the garbage. With only a minute 22 left to go in the game and Lucic looking at the clock, the momentum has swung fully into Boston's favor. Down by 1 and with Boston in possession in the Leafs' end again, Bruins coach Claude Julien throws a curveball to try and find some magic. Instead of centering Patrice Bergeron at the net front, he and 6'9" defenseman Zdeno Chara swap roles to make life way harder on James Reimer when trying to see the puck. Boston smells blood in the water, and they take advantage.
3 seconds to go. Bergeron shots.
Wow, with 50 seconds.
Hearts and Lions, they come from 3 down in the final 11 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Game 7.
Somehow, some way, Boston has climbed back from a
I thought this was about Boston. This is about Toronto.
As much as this potential collapse seemed tactical at first, it has now become equally as mental. For an underdog Leafs team,
man, poor
Leafs.
Leafs.
This game was all but over with a 3-goal lead in the third. Boston has done the unthinkable. For the Leafs, all they could try and do is move on and score the next one. Despite them being on the ropes heading into OT, the Leafs' top line came out attacking the game. They would get not 1, but 2 unbelievable scoring chances, but Tuukka Rask kept Boston alive. And as every minute passes on, Boston continues to dictate the play and once again hem Toronto in their own end. For a Boston team and city that desperately
don't poke the bear
on and off the ice, a heroic comeback would go down as one of the greatest moments in franchise history. As for the Leafs, one bounce here, one there, and this potential nightmare goes away for Toronto. But instead of trying to win this game, it feels like Toronto is playing not to lose. That's because a loss here would undoubtedly haunt them and their fans forever. So with the Bruins throwing everything at James Reimer and retrieving every rebound in the process,
oh my God,
what happened next would cement one of the greatest comebacks and chokes in NHL.
Oh
history.
my goodness, right off the rebound again.
Marchand to Bergeron, the drive, save, rebound is loose. Sagan kicks it loose. Bergeron scores.
Bro, but his team, bro, like if one of the assistant coaches knows that he blocks the puck, but he doesn't catch it, bro, you got to be telling his teammates, hey, when he blocked that puck, get it out. Get it out. Get it down to the other end of the ice. Yo, that's crazy, though. Damn. Oh, man, poor Leafs, man. Leafs are one of the first teams that I reacted to, man, and that's crazy right there. Wow. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn those post notifications on. If you want to see more videos just like this, check out the video in the middle of the screen or hit that profile icon in the bottom right with my face on it and go to the channel. Like a couple videos, man. Stay peaceful, stay positive, stay disciplined, and always be kind. I'll catch y'all in the next one.